Who am I? I'm Jill. How did I end up here? Sometimes I wonder about this myself. Why should you care what I have to say? That is entirely up to you. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a daughter, sister, aunt, and friend. I crochet. I make sourdough. I have a bird feeder in my yard. I am embracing middle age as graciously as I can. I cook, I read, and I hike. Oh, and I kinda sorta love yoga. I am an ERYT 500 and Yoga Alliance continuing ed provider. That's a mouthful, right? And unless you are knee-deep in the world of yoga organizations and designations, that means absolutely nothing to you. So in layman's terms, I am a yoga teacher with over 2,000 hours of teaching experience and over 500 hours of teacher training. I didn't start out loving yoga, though. It was quite the contrary, actually. I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease and had my first herniated disc when I was just a teenager. I had several procedures, such as laser discectomy at 21 and a series of nerve blocks at 26. I am not naturally athletic nor graceful, but I've always maintained a level of physical fitness to combat these issues. I was in physical therapy on and off from age 14 until just before I turned 40. In my 20s, a friend brought me to a yoga class. I liked it. But at the time, yoga was very hard to find and very expensive per class. It was years before I got to try it again, and only once it was accessible at my gym. Nowadays, you can find excellent yoga teachers in gyms. I teach at a big box gym, and the majority of the yoga teachers we hire are fantastic. But my experience back then was not good. The teachers were quite new, very inexperienced, and unable to teach to my inflexible and broken body. Over the years, I tried, and every single time I walked out of class and said, I hate this. So I stopped trying. Around when I turned 40, I had to slow down at the gym. I had just had a baby that never slept. My back was angry all the time, and my job was stressful. Pushing myself in a spin class or lifting stupid amounts of weight on no sleep wasn't what I wanted or what I needed. The friend who had brought me to that yoga class almost 20 years before had since become a yoga teacher and had never stopped encouraging me to try it again. This time she helped me get into a beginner workshop at her studio, and it was life-changing. For the first time ever, I was offered instruction and modifications. I was given props and told how to use them. I was on my way to becoming a yogi, and I didn't even know it. Though in truth, I had been on the path for years, but had never made the association between breathwork, meditation, and yoga. Like so many people, I saw yoga as poses and transitions. I never knew how much else was involved in the science of yoga. A few years before all of this, my first marriage had imploded in a violent fashion that left me a single mother with almost debilitating PTSD. I didn't sleep for months. To compensate so I didn't lose my mind, I meditated. I meditated a lot. I also learned to do breathwork to control my anxiety. But if you'd told me back then that I was doing yoga, I would have laughed in your face. There's an online exchange from this time. Another friend invited me to come to a yoga class, and my reply to her was, "I hate yoga though." Every year when it comes up in her memories, she sends it to me and I laugh. But back to my story. The studio opened. A friend of the yoga teacher friend opened her own studio. It was across the street from my office and about 10 minutes from my house. I worked at the front desk and helped with their social media in exchange for attending classes. I got to know all of the teachers. I took different styles, and I slowly began learning what worked for me and what needed to be modified for my body. A couple of years later, they introduced their first yoga teacher training, and at 42 years old, I became a yoga teacher. I made myself one promise during that time, and I'm pleased I've kept it. I promised that I would always teach to the people like me, the people to whom it didn't come naturally, the people with injuries that think they can't do it because no one showed them another way to do it. While I still teach with a heavy emphasis on using the breath, my teaching style has morphed significantly as I've aged. In addition to mostly mindful movement, I teach much more about the ethics of yoga and the philosophy behind what we're doing. Each practice is full of variations, so every student can feel their best throughout class. Creating, nurturing, and sustaining that mind-body connection is the truest form of yoga, even when you're just sitting on your mat. I never thought I'd be a yoga teacher, and I certainly never thought I'd be working at a gym. But the opportunity came up, and our manager is great. Our members are even better. I traditionally worked in boutique studios for most of my yoga career. But considering shedding the ego is a major tenet of yogic philosophy, that's all boutique studios are full of. And I decided that wasn't someplace I wanted to spend my energy anymore. Having to teach now to such a varied audience has pushed my skills and made me a much better teacher. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be teaching in a big box gym. So here's a few more things about me, a couple of getting to know you questions and my answers. What is something you think is totally underrated? Oh my God, sleep. I had no clue how much I loved naps until my 50s. I used to get to the club at 11:30 p.m. and party until sunrise. Now I'm in bed by 8:30 p.m. and I'm happier and healthier. If you could talk to any animal, what would it be? My dog, Sasha Bear. We communicate quite well, but I would give almost anything for her to be able to answer my constant running commentary to her. I narrate my entire life to her every single day. What's the grossest food combination you secretly love? It's not a secret. Baby carrots dipped in better than bouillon veggie base or in miso paste. Trust me on this one. Do you have another question you'd like me to answer? Find me on Instagram at yogaislife_pod, P-O-D, and ask me. Maybe I'll even answer on the next episode. So that's who I am. That's how I got here. And it's still entirely up to you to decide if you care what I'm saying. I started this podcast because I love the ethical lessons of yoga, and I love sharing them with you. If you'd like to support my work or simply say thank you, visit www.buymeacoffee.com/Jilly. Again, that's www.buymeacoffee.com/Jilly. buymeacoffee.com/Jilly, JILLY.